I am a huge proponent and investing in myself. And the reason why is that number one, I love to learn, but I want to be able to get where I want to go a lot faster. And you talk about, money, and you can't, and you talk about time. And the thing is that you can actually buy time with money.
All right, guys. Hey, what's up? Welcome to Go Live. This is episode 34, and I've got special guest Anissa Holmes with me on the show today. Say hello to everybody, Anissa.
Hi, guys. Hey, Josh. What's going on? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah, gosh, my pleasure. Thanks so much for being here. I know you've got a lot going on right now, which is awesome. Where are you at currently?
Right. So I am now living in Miami, which is pretty exciting. So happy to be back stateside. And what's interesting with South Florida right now is so many people are moving in post-COVID. So there's a lot of energy, a lot of entrepreneurs. There's a lot of dental companies that are down here. And so it's been really great to be able to connect and collaborate with so many down here in Florida.
Yeah. Gosh, your space looks beautiful. What's that in the background? Is it like a mural or what is that?
So that is actually a painting from a local artist. She actually is Venezuelan, but she learned how to paint this Mandura style in Spain. And I saw her art and I was like, oh my God, I have to have it. And I actually have two of her pieces now, but I love art. So yeah, it's so nice to have some local art here.
Oh, yeah, gosh, we've been in that area and I forget what it's called, but it's like got all the graffiti on the sides. Is that Wynwood? Wynwood, yeah. Gosh, it would do the same thing to me. I would walk through there a couple times for dinner and I'd be like, I've got to have like art like this in my house too. So that's awesome. Well, look, I've seen you a lot recently. I mean, speaking at Vivos, you did a photo session with us. You were speaking again at Happy Dentist Retreat. So it's been a whirlwind this summer for sure.
It has been. And I think that's what I'm so excited about with this new phase of my life. I actually, as many people do know, I got a divorce after many years. And so that's what's brought me back stateside. But the blessing in all of it professionally is that I do have an opportunity to really do some things that I've not been able to do before. Yeah. And that includes a lot of traveling and speaking. And, we go through seasons of life and my kids are now actually away at school. And so I'm at a different age and phase of my life where I can really get out and do all of these passions that I'm really passionate about. My daughter's in school in Massachusetts and my son in Connecticut. So it's really quick to get to them if they need mommy. Yeah. But now I'm able to speak. And so, I've spoken a few times keynoting for Vivos. I'm going to be keynoting for Perio Protect. I've been doing some collaborations with Henry Schein and now putting on live masterminds for doctors, which I've wanted to do for a really long time. And we actually have one coming up in a few weeks, and it's doctors and team leads and teaching them the business side of dentistry and how do we get the office manager to be that COO and help run the business with the owner so they can really have that freedom to do what they love to do and they're really, really good at. So I'm really excited. We've expanded the number of practices that we've been coaching, interestingly, without doing really any marketing. In the past, we've done a lot of Facebook. I'm known for that, but we just focused on serving our doctors hard, and they're growing so fast and they're making a lot more money, have teams that are committed. And so our mastermind has really been growing by word of mouth, which is incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've got quite a few viewers online. So if you guys got questions, drop them in the comments.
Say hi and let me know that you're here. I don't have my phone on to see who's there, but yeah, go ahead and say hi. If you're watching us in a replay, type in replay so we can know you're watching us there as well.
Yeah, I will pass those on to you. Well, look, it was funny because my first question to you was going to be, I was going to frame it like, hey, last time we did this was May of 2020 and a lot has changed since then. but you just went through a whole lot there. What have been some of from this last year, like 12 to 15 months, what have been some of your top highlights?
Yeah, you know what? When COVID hit, we decided to go all in and just serve hard. Yeah. And we realized that there was a huge opportunity to use that gift of time and actually work on practices, on our practices. And I mean, we did it in my practice, but the doctors that we serve, we started doing like a lot of online workshops, and we really started to focus on growth. And we do have an online training platform, our Boss Academy. In addition to our coaching program, we had 800 practices that joined during that time with zero credit card, just getting in there and learning. And we were doing lots of things to serve. And so what's been really interesting for me has been asking myself a question. And this is something that I think is really empowering for anyone who's watching this, whether you have a dental practice like me, or you have a coaching and consulting firm like me, or you help dentists with marketing, Joshua, like you, right? Or like us, is answering this question. And the question is, how can you serve your clients so hard that they actually do the marketing for us, right? And this is I know this is a marketing podcast, and I think that's the key. And I know that for me, I had this big epiphany post-COVID, and I'm like, oh my God. And I remember talking to Sarah, who's my COO of Delivering Well. And I'm like, Sarah, I'm like, you know what? We don't need to focus so much on marketing. We just need to focus on serving people hard, because that's what happened in my dental practice. Like right now, we spend like $200 a month on Facebook. We just boost like Truth Talk Thursday, like videos, Q&A videos that we do. That's it. Yeah. And the reason why is that we have so many patients that we're giving them such a great experience, and we're always giving new services and bringing in new technology, and we're including them and all of the things that we're doing to serve the community, and they're doing the marketing for us. And when they come in, they trust us. The new patients, they are committed because they've been referred by someone else. So they've seen what we're doing online, and it's powerful. And I told Sarah, I said, Sarah, that's the key. That's the key. And so that's where we really started focusing. I'm like, how can we serve our doctors harder in our mastermind? They need to have weekly marketing calls. Let's do weekly marketing calls. What else do they need? They need an accountability coach to get on every week and help them through all of the systems and frameworks that I'm teaching to help scale businesses. Let's do that. We did that as well. Like everything that they needed. Do we need to have a leadership coach? Yes, let's do that. Right? Like, let's look at how can we implement now in-person workshops. Let's do that. And I think that's the big key is figuring out how you can serve your people hard. And when you do that, you're going to get the result that they desire and that you desire for them. And ultimately your business is going to grow.
Yeah. Gosh, I love that. I know you're really big on investing into yourself. Yeah. And growing. And I it's always a conversation I enjoy having with you, like, hey, what's the latest investment, type thing. But what have been some of the investments you've made into yourself the last year that were the most significant?
Yeah. And I'll just say this. I am a huge proponent and investing in myself. And the reason why is that number one, I love to learn, but I want to be able to get where I want to go a lot faster. And you talk about, money, and you can't, and you talk about time. And the thing is that you can actually buy time with money, right? Or if you think about, and you may have seen that video when I was speaking at Vivos of me driving, and I took a video of it. I'm driving in the express lane in Miami, and I'm going like this, and everybody in the other 3 lanes are just, kind of crawling. And when we first started on express lane, we're going at the same pace, right? I cut a check for speed by paying that toll. And so I am a firm believer of that. I feel like the most successful people, that's what we do. And so it started back when I first heard about what is a business coach, right? For my dental practice, like back in 2010, hiring a business coach and putting in systems and processes and understanding the money part of dentistry, meaning budgeting and expenses and profits and profit margins and like collections percentage and like stuff like that. How would I know that? I'm a dentist, And so I've done that. I have obviously invested in understanding marketing and digital marketing. And I'm in Russell Brunson's mastermind. I have invested, done training with with EOS to go through the professional EOS implementer training, which helps businesses to scale from 5 to 10 to 100 million. I've worked with James Friel, who helped to scale a company to $1 billion, understanding how to use Trello in Asana. And we actually teach Asana now in our programs based on what I learned from him, is communication systems and accountability with a proven plan that actually works. We've done a whole sorts of stuff. I've wanted to understand case acceptance to help my doctors. So I went on a mission to understand sales, persuasion, and psychology. And I worked with coaches who teach neurolinguistic programming to real estate agents, which is crazy, right? I mean, I don't know. I love learning. And I think it's given me an opportunity to now serve my doctors that are in my mastermind hard, because now they get Cliff's Notes, they get a shortcut because it's a combined knowledge of all of these things wrapped into one, pretty package with a bow. But I'll always be learning. I'm always trying to figure out what can I learn next. I did a few other masterminds. I worked last year with Pat Quinn, who's Tony Robbins' speaking coach. So I spent like 10 grand working with him for 2 days. And you've seen me speak recently and you're like, oh my gosh, Anissa, something has changed, right? And it's because I've worked with him. I've worked with Catherine Eitel. I've worked with Paul Homily. And now I'm working with people outside of our industry. And it's allowing me to deliver a more powerful message that really moves people. And to me, that's really powerful.
Yeah. What's anything on your radar, like coming up the rest of the year, or even next year, where you're like, that course or that thing, or just even that topic, like I need to master that?
You know what, right now, Josh, the number one thing that I'm focusing on right now, honestly, is just serving more colleagues hard with in-person masterminds, in-person workshops. Like, I'm so excited that I have the ability. Like I said, I'm at a phase, I couldn't do this a few years ago because my kids needed mommy, right? And now that they are off and away to school, I mean, they still need mom, but I'm seeing them on their Christmas breaks and spring breaks and Thanksgivings and things like that. And so right now, that's my focus, is doing more, giving more opportunities to share the knowledge that I've received, right, with other doctors, so that they too can have a business that is allowing them to have happiness and run like a well-oiled machine. I mean, for me and my practice and my goal for colleagues is to get to the point of where they're like me. Like, I have a practice and I can do whatever I want to do in the business. Like I can work full time, or like me, I've actually retired at 20 years and I have recurring revenue that comes in every month. And we have a business that's running like a well-oiled machine. And my practice, I do have a coaching program, but my practice alone pays my bills. And that's really powerful, right? And so to me, it's doing more workshops and helping more colleagues.
Yeah. Gosh, I know one of the things I've been really on the last couple of months, it's just a lot of CEO kind of mindset stuff, and really trying to invest in that area of myself. Has that always come easy to you, that kind of CEO role mindset, or like, where was that point where you were like, yeah,
what? I'm going to say this. I think this is the most powerful thing that we all need to master, is mindset. And it's so interesting. I was on a call with a doctor just the other day, and she was having a lot of self-doubt. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And she's not a client yet, but she was kind of just talking through some of her challenges. And she's just like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if, I don't know if I can join Mastermind because I don't have, a good office manager, and like giving all of these reasons why she couldn't be successful. And, for those who hear me speak, one of the biggest things I say is, how do we change I can't statements to how can I statements? Right. And that's a total mindset shift, right? Like, even when I was speaking at Vivos, I'm like, some of you may say, well, I can't do Vivos because I don't have a team that's going to support me. My question to you is, how do you create a team that helps you and supports you, right? Because that's going to allow you to get what you want to be able to achieve. And I think that for me, a lot of that has come from being around a lot of great mentors and coaches who are high achievers. And this is their mindset. You know, I am in masterminds with people that are doing incredible things, not just in dentistry, but outside of dentistry. And no is not an answer for them. It's always, how can I? And I think a lot of it too just came inherently like from my dad. You know, he would tell me as a little girl, you know, my baby, and, you know, we're from New Orleans. And he's like, you know, I don't have a lot to give you. I grew up with very humble beginnings, but he says, you know, I'm going to work 2 or 3 jobs to give you an opportunity to go to school. And I went to great schools because of my parents' sacrifice. But he said, you can be anything you want to be. It doesn't matter if you are a woman, it doesn't matter. Like whatever you want to achieve, you can do it. And so I think a lot of that within me was always because I had somebody who believed in me from the very beginning and said, you can do it. And so I think a lot of times that's what we really need. I mean, it could be exercise, like somebody saying, I already know that you're going to lose this weight. I already know you're going to be fit. I believe in you. And then now you just move forward and you take that action.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, I remember, I mean, I grew up pretty low income outside of Los Angeles. And I remember at some point turning that into going, it was almost like the I can't, like it was the, we can't afford this. We can't afford that. We can't do this. And at some point I remember I was like 15. I was like, I'm gonna go get a job and figure out how to do that, you know? But what do you think the biggest barrier is? Is it just like the self-awareness of that tape is playing in my head? Like because I don't even know if a lot of people even realize it, right? Like that I can't voice.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's so common. And, you know, for those of us who, same thing. I mean, I worked at Winn-Dixie supermarket from, I think it was 14 was the age that I could get a job. Like 14 in college, I had 3 jobs because my parents couldn't do certain things and I wanted certain things. And I didn't want to leave college with loans because I knew I was going to do dental school. So I just worked 3 jobs. Right. I mean, but that was just internal. Right. But I assumed that everybody was that way. Right. And as I started to understand human connection, I realized that so many people did not grow up with families that believed in them. And I start to understand now when I'm really, and actually you asked me what I'm studying right now is like psychology and energy and all of this sort of self-awareness. I think that's kind of where I am right now. But I realized that so many people have had trauma, in their past. And a lot of people are working through things and bad things have happened to them. And that gives them this sort of, it kind of holds them back, you know? And so sometimes I'll hear people say, well, you know, I don't want to get an office manager because I had one and it was a disaster. And I'm like, oh, so you're never going to have one again. Right. And so I think that's a lot of what holds people back.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember being in high school and my mom, we would always go to Kmart for school shopping. You know, Kmart's not even around anymore, but it wasn't cool back then either. But you know, the layaway program where like, you know, we put the clothes in and every week she'd go in with like, you know, 10, 15, 20 bucks and pay for it. And eventually we'd get them. But at some point as I got older and all the kids were wearing the cool Nike shoes, and my dad's like, nah, because, you know, they're 120 bucks or whatever they were. And I remember that was one of my first motivations. Like, I'm going to go get a job because I want a pair of those black Nike flights. But yeah, I think it's like, who told you you can't, right? Like, where did that come from? And yeah, I even catch myself on that. Like, why do I have that belief?
And I think too, like going a little deeper here, Josh, it's in addition to who told you you can't, it's about why, like how important is this to you?
Yeah.
Right. So I would go even deeper, you know, the tennis shoes. How important is it to you that you get those Jordans? Right. And it was important to you. And so now what you did was you took the action, which was to find a way to get them, which was to get a job. Right. And, it's the same, again, I think it's really psychology that I'm really fascinated with right now. And like, why do people do certain things? It's the same thing. Like, why do I want to, I told you I'm going on a yoga retreat. Why am I doing that? Right. Or what is my number one goal right now? I want to be really strong. I want to be healthy. I want to be in my best health of my life. And so that's important to me. Like what I eat is important to me. And so, I made a decision to start doing yoga, and I'm getting really strong. And I decided to go to this yoga retreat by myself, which I think is great. And I would have never done that before. Why did I do that? Because I know that when I come back, I'm going to be even stronger, and I'm going to learn things that I don't even know about myself yet.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's the same thing with, with coaching. I want to have a business that I can be proud of. I want to have a business that runs like a well-oiled machine. Right. And so if that's the outcome that you want to save more lives, you want to help more people, then how can you like remove all barriers so that you get what you want?
Yeah. Yeah. I think what's interesting is if I go back to like that thought of, I want those shoes, like it's silly in a materialistic way, because you're like, well, it's just a pair of shoes. But if I went back to like, okay, like what was underneath that? It was like, I can do this, like, so I know I can do that. And plus, like, I think it was at the stage where it was socioeconomically, there were kids that had money and then there were kids that didn't. And I felt that. And I think part of me was going, I'm the same as those guys.
Yeah.
So I think some of it's even going like, well, like who told you can't? But like you said, like, why is that important? Because maybe it's like, it's this practice number, it's this car, it's like, it's whatever. That may seem silly and materialistic, but it's like, what's underneath that that's really important to you?
Yeah.
I love that. You've always been like this. I mean, you've always had this like visionary, I don't know what you call it. Like, I don't know if you call it a gifting, skill sets, a mindset, perspective. Has that just always been natural, like how you've seen the world, or is that something you're like, nah, I'm going to develop that?
It is something that I'm constantly developing, but honestly, Josh, I think that we all have different gifts that were given to us. By the universe, by God, by whoever you want to say, you have that gift, right? And that gift is to inspire people. And the gift is to see things that are there that are not there. And I'm very grateful for this gift. And so it is something that I am very appreciative of. I tell people all the time, I'm not a comedian. Like if I'm on stage, I'm not going to be the funniest speaker, right? I'm not going to be the one that's going to get everybody, dancing up and down. Like I don't have that gift, right? That's not my gift. Somebody else has that gift. Elijah has that gift. I don't have that gift, right? But I have the gift to be able to inspire people and to be able to let people see the vision that I see, right? So when I say, I believe that you can grow your business by X, or I believe you can do this for your community, or I believe you can have this amazing team, I see it. I know it's possible because I've seen it for myself and so many others. I see it for you. And my goal is that I transfer my vision and my energy to you so you see it as well. It's pretty cool stuff. You have that same gift.
Thanks. No, I think that's so important, because if you're sitting there and you're like, hey, I'm not a visionary, right? And maybe that's, we're going back to like that tape that's playing in your head and why and who told you weren't. But at the same time, like if that's not your skill set or your strength, like being around people that can bring that, to you and that can see that as well, I think is so important. So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And I love that, like I said, it could be for business, but there've been people in my personal life that have said, oh my gosh, I see this for you.
Yeah.
Right? It could be friends. And, I see this for you, or, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing for you. And you're going to step into this and it's going to be awesome. Yeah. Right. And so when you have other people transferring their authentic belief for you, and again, it doesn't have to be a coach or mentor or somebody that you're paying, but somebody it's pretty powerful. And, you know, it just works, and it helps us to move.
Yeah. Gosh, I've got a couple people in my life where, yeah, just like routinely, you know, time will go by. I'm like, I just, you know, we'll feel stuck, or maybe there's just a feeling like, need some fresh vision. And I just like get on the phone with them, you know, because it's like the way they see the world is just different and begins to open things up. So, gosh, I love this conversation because like this is like such high performing habits type stuff, right? Like investing in yourself, getting around people with vision, you know, who told you can't, like, it's great stuff. So thank you. You've got your first, you're going to Costa Rica for a yoga retreat. Then you're coming back. You've got your first in-person event post-COVID that you're putting on.
Right.
Tell us about that and all you guys got going on there.
Yeah. So it all started with me feeling like I really missed everybody. Right? Yeah. So, and all of our doctors were like, we miss you. We miss everybody. We've got to get like, we, you know, human beings, we have to be connected. And for the doctors that are in our mastermind, we typically get together at least twice a year, where we connect and we learn. You actually spoke at one of our masterminds that we had for our doctors in Jamaica, pre-event to Summit a few years ago. And the doctors were like, we need to get together. We want to get together. And so we decided to do a mastermind in Fort Lauderdale at the W Hotel. And I was thinking about actually doing it in Wynwood. And we have a chat group with our doctors, and they're like, I'm so tired post-COVID. Like, I'm exhausted. Like, people need sand between their toes. So we actually decided to do it at a beach resort. But what we're going to be doing, and we also decided to invite people that were not in our mastermind. And I was like, I really want to do this. This will be really cool. And so what we're going to be doing is focusing on doctor. How can you become that visionary of your business? Like, what do you really want? Like a year from now, when you look back, what is it going to look like for you? How many team members, how many days off? What's going to be your profit? What services are you going to implement that you have not even started to even think about implementing yet? How can we create a roadmap? How can we look at what if scenarios? What if you start sleep apnea? What if you start Perio Protect? What if you focus on case acceptance? What would be the financial outcome, right? And so we're going to be digging deep into that. We're going to teach them, which is so cool, profit margins, right? And these are things that we didn't learn in school. And a lot of times doctors are taking PPOs. They're getting 120 from a PPO. But when you look at the fixed and variable expenses broken down per half an hour, and you look at the actual supply costs, which we're actually going to give to them, they realize they're making like $10 per filling, which is crazy. So once you have information, you can make better decisions. And so we're going to be doing some of that. We have a case acceptance workshop. So we're going to be teaching verbal skills, neurolinguistic programming, and we're going to be working with the office managers. And for me, for office managers, I love to go into that, tell them, I'm like, guys, like, your job is not to be the receptionist. Your job actually is to be the COO of this company and to run this business, right? So you're a strategist with the owner of growth, right? How can we get to this number? What's the accountability to make sure that it happens? How can you lead the team so that now things are not slipping through the cracks? Does everybody have an internal goal? Are you talking about it weekly, right? And so we're going to be teaching some systems, frameworks. How do you have accountability in your business, communication in your business? Again, Asana, a lot of these things that we look at that helps businesses scale. And we're going to be there to actually support the office manager so that when the practices leave, they have actually a roadmap for their next year of how they're going to increase revenue, how they're going to have their team on board. We're going to be looking at teams and, you know, do we have the right people and are they performing the right role? And sometimes we realize as our businesses grow that that we need to level up our people. We have to train them, or there's some people that really are not going to be part of our next vision. And so we have to be realistic on that. And so these are some of the things that we're going to be doing at our workshop. And we're going to be having these in the future. And going to be really exciting, again, to be able to help doctors get to the point where they can now start delegating a lot more to their team and elevating their knowledge in terms of becoming that CEO of their practice.
Cool. So you've got your like annual meeting that you do, but this is different. This sounds like it's almost like jumping into like
this is workshop. Like we're working.
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Are you still going to do your annual meeting next year?
We are. So March the 10th and 11th,
Cool.
we're going to be in Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Nice.
So we're bringing it back to Jamaica, and we're going to be back at the Hyatt Ziva. So we're really excited about that. Everybody's excited about that. We've had so many people between past speakers, between vendors, between doctors, everybody's like, are we having this thing? Are we, it's all of our event. It is, right? Are we having the event again next year? I'm like, yeah, we are. Right. So it's going to be great. I love our events. They're very special. And as you know, you've been to all of our events.
Yeah.
And, it's a great opportunity for people to come together and connect, and collaborate and share. And a lot of connections have been made at our Delivering Well Summit between doctors and vendors, and it's special. And so we're excited to have that again.
Yeah. Plus the chicken jerk shack out by the beach, man. 24/7, like all you can eat jerk chicken. Like that's all. That's it. Like right there, that sells me.
You're just going for the jerk chicken.
I am, man. It's grilled like right there. You're sitting by the beach, you're smelling it. I ate more chicken. Yeah, ridiculous. So no, that's awesome. If somebody's interested in getting to your mastermind coming up, or even that, like what's the best way to get in touch with you about those things?
Yeah, the best way to get in touch with me is our website. So it's deliveringwell.com. And that's where you can do a few things. So you can learn more about our coaching program and our training program, where we help practices to run like a well-oiled machine. You can learn about our in-person events, whether it's going to be our workshops or our masterminds. And so I would definitely direct you there. If you are wanting to have a podcast to listen to, I do a solo podcast and I share a lot of tips and strategies. So it's Delivering Well Podcast. We have a YouTube channel. So yeah, lots of ways to connect and learn, or reach out. People are so surprised that when they reach out to me on Facebook that I'm like, hey, let's jump on a call. Because this texting thing just takes too long. Just message me, we'll chat, And so I think colleague to colleague, when you find that your heart is all about serving, that's what we do. Right. So, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, for sure. A couple more questions and I'll let you go. So obviously like you got this new season of life. Your kids are away. Anna's in Massachusetts. Yeah. Brady's now, and this was just recent, right? Like Brady's up in Connecticut at school. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, you probably feel like a little bit of an empty nester, even earlier than probably what most people experience. What's that been like?
You know what? So Anna finished her first year of school in Massachusetts, and let me tell you, it's hard when you don't have your kids with you and they're away at school. But again, going back to why did we make that decision?
Yeah.
And over Christmas break, she was at home doing an online term, and she was learning about the politics in North Korea, right? And she's 16 and she's in boarding school, and she's got these teachers who are incredible PhDs, TEDx speakers. Over Christmas break, they built an ice skating rink. Who does that for the kids, right? And she came back just on point in terms of being responsible. She used to be a little irresponsible. And when she first started, she was getting to class late every time. And, she had to go through the discipline of that. And so, we are really giving our kids an opportunity to be able to become really empowered, and the connections that they will make at these schools are incredible. And so, when you look at the bigger why, for me, it gets me excited. And honestly, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to send her and send Brady now to these amazing schools. I didn't have that opportunity, with growing up. And so I think with every generation, if we can do a little bit more, like I always talk about when I lecture and say, it's okay. How many of you want more for your kids than you had growing up? Yeah. Right. Like, I know I do. Right. And it doesn't mean like sending them to boarding school, but I'm just saying like giving your kids more opportunity than what you had. Right. And I think for me, that's been the biggest driver for me actually has been the kids. Like, how can I put myself in a position where I can give them the best education possible, right? That I can afford. And so, yeah, it is a new season of life. I am, it's hard to not see them every day, but I see them all the time anyway, right? Because there's, they go to school in September, then October, we're up there for Parents Weekend, and then Thanksgiving they're home, and then Christmas they're home, and Easter they're home, and spring break they're home, summer they're home. So it's typically just about once a month. But yeah, that's where they are. And I'm really proud of them. They're doing really well.
Yeah. Gosh, I remember pre-COVID, we were on a cruise and we were actually in the Bahamas, and it was me, you, and Joanna. And it was the excursion out on their island or whatever. And we were in the ocean talking, and you were talking about this very thing, like your kids and giving them opportunities through networking in school, and to just even going back to like you're like the fast lane, right? Of like giving them those shortcuts and those fast lane opportunities. Do you feel like so much of that even comes back to like your father even saying to you like, hey, I can't give you much, but what I can give you school?
Yeah, it's 100%. And my daughter, she I don't know what she will do. She's thinking law. I don't know, maybe psychology, who knows, right? She loves to dance. So literally right now in the summer, she's in New York right now, dancing at Joffrey Ballet, right? And that was not a small investment to send her there, right? And it's, it could be a sacrifice, but to me, it puts her in a really good position. She wants to go to Columbia, right, for college, which is a great school. And between her dancing every summer at Joffrey and between her going to this amazing school, which actually feeds into these great schools, I know that I've set her up for success. I know that when she wants to go to Columbia and she also wants to dance in the city at the same time, she's going to be prepared for that. And the networking and who knows you. I mean, it's very, very powerful. And you're right, the networking. I mean, in her class, and it's crazy. I was like, who's in her class? Like one of the Rockefellers is in her class. And Ken Burns' daughter is in her class, which is crazy, right? Yeah. And so, yeah, the connections that you make, kids from all over the world, you can't take that back, And so, some people at first, they kind of judge and they're like, you send your kids to a boarding school? And I'm like, yeah, because I think it'll be great for them. It'll give them this opportunity that these kids are becoming the next set of world leaders. And so again, I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't know anything about this. It was actually their dad that inspired and kind of brought up this thought process. But I think it's okay. But yeah, it's all about giving ourselves an opportunity to grow and to learn and to continue to stretch ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna let you go, but it's Friday. Tell me what you're doing tonight to unwind. What are you eating? What are you drinking? Like, where are you at?
So I am not sure what I'm going to be doing tonight. There's a lot of things going on this weekend in Miami. There's this event called Rolling Loud. So there's a lot of events happening. I may go out and do something like that with friends. Again, I've met a lot of dental friends, which is really cool. But honestly, I'm going to Costa Rica on Sunday. And so just preparing myself for my trip. So I'm really excited about that. A week of yoga and meditation and reading. And I think it's good for us to take these breaks. And a lot of times we don't give ourselves permission to be alone and to read and learn and rest and reset. And so that's what I'm giving myself permission to do. And then the following week, we're going to be hitting it hard with our Dr. Team Lead Mastermind.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, look, if somebody wants to connect with you on social, where's the best place to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you can reach out to me on Facebook message me, like you're on Facebook right now if you're watching this live video. Yeah, send me a message. And like I said, happy to connect. I love connecting. And, a lot of times people just have a question and I direct them to who can help them with, answering whatever needs that they have. Or say, get feedback on this. And so, yeah, reach out. Again, our website is delivering well. But if there's anything I can do to serve any of you, I'm here.
Awesome. And I know if you guys message her, Anissa will respond too, for sure. So she's super responsive. Well, hey, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you taking time out of your day for sure. So have a great weekend. Have a great trip to Costa Rica as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. We'll see you. Guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for being here.